Hi, this is Coach Jay with the UBC podcast. The goal is to provide key information to the basketball community in informative series of 10 to 15 minute sessions. Please like and subscribe to the page to stay updated. Welcome to Basketball is Broken, Volume 1. The state of basketball sucks right now, and it's a twofold problem. The problem stems from the coaches and the parents. Unfortunately, the kids are the ones paying the price. These issues originate from loyalty, honesty, and trust being broken. If we want to start with loyalty, being real, it was a time where only 10% of your team played for a different club. Now 60% of kids playing club basketball play for multiple teams. As a coach, it's almost impossible to help develop a kid if he has 10 different coaches in his ear saying 10 different things. As a kid, you're going to listen to the one that's selling you a dream or the one that you think is cool. Without having loyalty to one team, development truly lacks because there's no consistency. As a coach, having kids that don't practice or play with you consistently kills chemistry, confidence, and trust from other parents inside of the program. As a parent, every kid that wants to play collegiately or professionally needs to play for at least two teams. One team where the kid is the guy and the other team where you're just another guy. Most kids never learn to maximize their potential because they don't experience proper development. The reason behind this is as a star player, you get to know who you are and what you're made of. As a role player, you learn the value of shots, shot selection, and how to earn minutes and steal extra shots from doing the little things. You develop some grit. I don't care about AAU coaches, but for certain college coaches, they're not looking for divas. They're looking for pieces. Parents and coaches, let's help these kids grow by having real conversations. Parents, let's commit to a primary program. Also have a discussion about the secondary program. Or about this, ask the team, can they play for an age group up? Or play with the same program just on the A team instead of the B team. So a lot of different ways we can go about this, but at the end of the day, we need to do something to help these kids get better and we stay loyal to our home program. Because if the kid isn't growing, what's the point? Let's touch on honesty real quickly. Most coaches, parents, and players can't communicate with each other in a meaningful way. Everything both ways is always hating. Constructive criticism is necessary, especially when everyone's goal is to be in the 1%. The NBA, you're in the top 1%. If you're playing high level basketball in college, you're in the top 1%. If you're playing for the top AAU program, you're in the top 1%. If you can't have civil discussions without it being an argument or falling out, you're part of the problem. The fact is, most people don't value coaching or the responsibility that it entails. I stopped coaching because I treat every player like I would treat my own kid, and most parents can't handle that. The job of a coach is to teach the game and to correct the game. I don't know about you, but every time I correct my kids, it's not positive. I'm also mature enough to admit that if I'm wrong, and some of these coaches have complexes that don't allow them to do that, so it becomes a real problem correcting a kid or having a kid tell them what they see on the floor. My way or the highway can only apply to certain areas, not all. Too often, it's a small problem that festers and becomes a bigger issue because the parents and coaches won't have a conversation. Conversations have to happen in every relationship. The simplest thing you can do is talk. More times than not in AAU programs, instead of it being a conversation with the coach or the person you have an issue with, what happens is you go to the next program and you carry that baggage from one program to the next, or you go out and you steal a kid from one program and bring him over. Me personally, I don't like taking on kids from other programs without having a conversation with that coach first. Why? Because I need to know if that kid is coachable. I need to understand the relationship that the parents had with the coaching staff, because every coach, every player, everybody has to be on the same board for anybody to go anywhere. And what I mean by that is we have to have expectations. We have to have goals. We have to have alignment as to, hey, I need you at practice 3 times a week. Hey, you need to be putting in extra reps on your own. From a parental standpoint, you need to say, hey, these grades need to be right, because you're not going anywhere if you have a 2.5 GPA. If you have a 2.0 GPA, you're not playing. So the honest part of basketball is coaches were mentors. Coaches were helpers. That's not the it's not that anymore. Coaches are coaching, programs are being programs for the sake of saying like, hey, I have a program, I'm making money, I'm happy making money. Nobody's going anywhere. Let's fix this. Last but not least is trust. Trust is a real hard one because I don't think anybody trusts the process either way. As a parent, I'll ask a couple questions. How many teams has your child played on? How many schools have they transferred to? In these situations, who is to blame? For our coaches, how many core players are we retaining? Are you worried about who will show up to each practice or tournament? This stems from it being a lack of trust, whether it be in a philosophy, a system, what you're trying to create. Basketball isn't a hard sport when it's handled correctly. A good team has chemistry. Chemistry comes from them trusting the next player will do their job. How many parents, players, and coaches collectively have chemistry? Do you feel like as a group you are preparing for a life in basketball, or are you just bouncing around aimlessly? Basketball is definitely something that you have to game plan for. Any sport, honestly, you're really setting a plan, you're working the plan, you trust that process. What I'm seeing right now is dieting, and dieting in the sense of people don't really understand what a diet is. A diet is not something that you do, it's not a fad. A diet is your lifestyle. It's the way that you eat food and the way that you consume food on a consistent basis for the rest of your life. What I see with basketball is we have kids going from team to team, parents going from team to team, coaches going out and grabbing the best player from this team, that team, another team. And the reason is nobody trusts themselves. As a player, if you're not good, you work to get better. You trust the process. As a coach, if your team is losing and you're losing to good teams, guess what? Trust the process. You can lose to a team full of holdbacks. You can lose to older teams. You can lose to teams that are just overall better. But if your system works and you trust your system, your kids will get better and those losses will turn into wins. Parents, why are you switching programs? You're not trusting who you're choosing. If my kid plays for 4 different teams inside of a year, I'm asking myself, how am I vetting these coaches? How am I vetting these programs? What decision am I making where I am wrong? It has to be some accountability across the board. So, a great example of trust would be your kid growing inside of a program and aging out of that program. A great example of trust is having your AAU coaches being able to talk to your high school coaches and them creating a game plan to try and help get this kid into college. That's trust. And that's that. It's not there anymore. Let's bring trust back to the game.